ready to rock. We got hose. We got more hose. We got all the hose. All right, buenos dias, ninjas. It's another beautiful day in San Diego, and we are headed southbound to Imperial Beach to follow up with the customer with the Toyota Tundra transmission cooler problem. So I touched base with this guy about a week ago. He has a cool first generation Tundra, 4-door crew cab, and he's got it kind of built out, and it's like one of his main go-tos. He's also got an FJ that's built, just like bumpers and lift and tires, suspension, you know, just like everything you need to make it a little bit more stout, a little bit more off-road capable. I'm a big Toyota guy, so I dig them, obviously. And he wanted to upgrade his radiator instead of just replacing it with a piece of crap. So we're putting in a cold case radiator, another factory oil cooler that we're replacing. The one he has is all tweaked. One of the hoses crapped the bed, and so dumped a bunch of fluid, and he was out in Anza Borrego. So he towed it all the way back to Imperial Beach, which is pretty far, and it's just been sitting. So back here, you might not be able to see her, but this is my new pooch, and this is her first work day with me. So just want to thank everybody that's been really supportive in the process of finding another dog and helping me deal with the grief of losing Duchess. She's my best friend and meant more to me than arguably anyone ever. So really was crushed for a long time. I got this opportunity to get another pupster. She just looked so sweet, and the lady was very nice. And so I drove up to Cerritos to pick her up, and it's been awesome ever since. But I'm just really stoked to have this little girl with me. Everyone's been throwing in suggestions for her name. She's 3 months old. They were calling her Lassie because they didn't really have a name for her. And you know, I've tossed a bunch around, and I've probably got 100 different suggestions from people, and I've decided to go with Dakota. Before Duchess passed away, my plan, or really before she got sick, she actually swallowed a fish hook, and that was the like incident that made us discover the cancer and all the problems she had. And so everything kind of went downhill from there. But that was in the end of May last year, and we had already set up work. Like, I had posted ads in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, for my mobile mechanic services and restoration of vehicles and fabrication, etc. And I found a couple customers, one of them with a Mustang, one of them with a Corvette, well-to-do guys that had a long list of stuff to get done and no one to help them. Fortunately, everything fell through, but we were planning on doing a big tour, cruising around Montana, going up to BC, see the Rust Bros, go see JF Lanier and the Killer Customs crew, just like meet everybody up there in Canada. I'm a huge fan of the Rust Valley Restorers series, and I just love all those guys. They really got me through a tough time in my life watching that show and helped me stay motivated for the future. And anyway, so Dakota really just makes me think of that plan that I had with Duchess that never got executed. So get a little emotional about it every time I talk about it. But yeah, let's get this done, and hopefully no whammies. All of a sudden I'm babysitting. All right. That's Dakota, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are. We got the cold case radiator, which I'm really stoked on. This company rules. Thanks to Vice Grip Garage for suggesting them. Really beautiful work on that. We got the new oil cooler, ready to rock. We got hose. We got more hose. We got all the hose. And we got clampies. So here's the gist. This thing got smashed somehow. Seen better days. Lost a hose right here. It's smashing in on the condenser. So condenser's fine, hose is not. This is a pretty tight fit here, so this will probably be the most tricky part of what we're doing. I've already pulled out a couple of bolts. We got the radiator shroud's looking a little crusty. So yeah, just a straightforward gig. Like I said, this guy's got sick stuff: winch, bumper, lights, tires, suspension. I dig the topper back here, this tent thing. I don't know what you call that. It's a pop-up. It's not really a topper. But yeah, that probably cost a pretty penny. Those things run pretty steep. Those things are pretty expensive. So yeah, custom bumper in the rear, swing out spare holder, sliders, stubby. But yeah, 4.7 I-force. looking pretty sweet. So yeah, let's rip all this stuff out of here. Hopefully my dog doesn't eat a bunch of stuff in the meantime. But what are you doing? You being a good girl? Look at her. Oh my goodness. So you can kind of see what's going on here. This thing is tweaked, and if you look down here, that's all bent. This is really tweaked up. Looks like somebody stick welded this almost. And then we've got like the condenser line, which has been bent around this. So I think they just squeezed all this stuff up together just to fit in the winch. But this thing definitely got smashed because this is tweaked. It takes some significant force to do this. So customer doesn't know how that happened. This was his dad's truck before him, so probably something with his pops before he had a bumper on it, hit something, maybe rear-ended somebody or something. So yeah, the lines are down in there. It's squeezed in pretty tight. I've got this cooler completely unbolted and it's like really solidly in there still. So drain the radiator, and we're gonna pull that out, give us a little bit more accessibility, and then we'll be able to space this out, figure out where we're gonna put this oil cooler to make it work. All right, so I got the cooler free and it was completely pinned between this plastic cover on the winch and the condenser, and you can see what it's done here. But more importantly, we found our smoking gun. Bam, there she goes. That hose has seen better days. So yeah, whoever mounted this winch was just rushing it and they blew it. It's gonna be a little tricky getting this to clear right and mount it up, but I think we've got multiple options, so we should be okay. We got a lot of space here to work with. So I don't have much bracketry I brought with me, but we're gonna straighten this sucker out. Probably just use a croissant wrench and get that thing straightened out, and then maybe change our orientation of this thing. Maybe we'll have it sideways instead of vertical, or we'll just move it up a couple holes. There seems to be plenty of holes. I don't know why they put it in the place they put it. So maybe it has to clear the hood. No, that should be fine. All right, let's dig in, figure it out. Alright, so what I did is I moved the horn here and then connected to the horn bracket. Use this bracket as to keep it from touching the condenser. And then it kind of wants to touch this plastic down here a little bit. So I put a little safety wire just pulling it back on both of these. And it should be fine. It really doesn't want to move at all. Don't have strap to put from here to here, but definitely can do that later. That's a really accessible gig. So, but yeah, for now I think this is going to be fine. Just going to pull this harness up a little bit right here, and then we'll have, that thing is stable. It's not going anywhere. Even have a larger bolt here. It's a 12 instead of a 10 with a larger shaft diameter. So I'm happy with that. That's going to work. Alright, radiator's in, cooler's in, lines are in, filling the rad. Had to do a little bit of fitting, but other than that, I'm stoked. You're such a good girl today. You were so patient and just chilling in the shade when you weren't chewing on grass and little bits of wood that you would find. Alright, so on my way home from Imperial Beach, job went pretty good. Couple half whammies. I wouldn't say they were a full whammy. Had to hog out the holes to fit the cold case radiator, which I was kind of disappointed. I figured those guys would be spot on with their specs, but they were about an 1/8 inch off, too narrow. So I had to hog out the holes in order to get the bolts in. But you know, I had a carbide bit on my Milwaukee drill, so it just took like a little bit of and it went in there, and then they fit fine. And then the hoses, really had a hard time getting the hoses. They were 3/8 inner diameter, and that's what the spec called for. But getting them on the oil cooler was really tough. I worked those things for a while, and was jamming my hand in there. Probably should have hooked up the lines before I put the cooler in, but you know, it's just one of those things. I expected the hoses to go on, and I didn't want to undo everything I did just to put the hose on. So I made that work. That was probably the most difficult part of the job today. And then we got it filled up. It wasn't shifting initially because he basically dumped the whole thing. So yeah, we got like a gallon of juice in it, or a little bit more than a gallon. And then she started doing shifter things again, going forward, going backward. So I just told him, you know, keep an eye on it. We were on the stick at the high point, but it definitely wasn't hot. So I told him just go drive it, then check it, you know, for the next few days and top it off as needed. It's kind of hard to get a real clear transmission reading in most cars, but you just got to keep an eye on it and just pay attention to how it's shifting. Speaking of transmissions, my 4Runner, I really shouldn't be driving it, but it seems to be isolated to first gear, to the low gear. It just kind of makes a grinding, kind of scraping just in that low gear, and then once it gets into second, basically like 12 miles an hour, then it runs essentially normal. So I think I'm okay for freeway driving. Yeah, I'm just, you know, babying the thing, hoping to get enough consistent work in the next week to be able to buy like a working used transmission, new to me, get that installed, pull the transmission out that's in it right now. And I kind of want to rebuild it myself. I've never rebuilt the automatic transmission. I've done manuals. It's not intimidating. I just want to do it. It's time to learn. There's been dragons off the edge of the map for a while, and I've been scared to go there, but now I just want to get them off the map and be able to understand how these automatics work. And the best way to do it is just dive right in. So I'm probably going to do that. Just little girl did so good today. She was just chilling. First day working with me, didn't really know what was going on. I just tied her up kind of on the side, and she had some shade and she had her little toy. So, you know, she just basically slept the whole time and was very, very good. You know, she's such a sweetheart. I'm so stoked. Lots more puppy content on the way. So yeah, really appreciate all y'all. Hope you guys are having a great day. Until next time, I'll see you when I'm looking at you.